Looks like we are live on Facebook. Good morning. Say hi when you pop in. We are all here to say hi to you this morning. Can you see this amazing lineup that we have for you today? I am so excited to be hanging out with these amazing women who are totally fire. I am telling you, I know we have a lot of new coaches on here. If you have not heard these women before, be prepared, have your notepads, and be ready to just go, because we are really going to it's going to be an amazing morning. So how is everyone doing after day one? Here we are, day two. Did you all get your action steps done? You know, honestly, that is where the magic happens for sure. So what I'd like to know is how many of you had some amazing takeaways yesterday? Put a 1 in the chat if you learned something yesterday that you hadn't heard before, that you're excited to implement. Maybe you already did. I would love to see look at all those ones. Yep, I did too. You know, it's so amazing to me how after, honestly, 11 years of coaching, I can still take pages and pages of notes because we're always a student. And so what was the goal that Jamil shared yesterday that everyone is going to do by the end of the month? What was our goal, you guys? Let's see it. How many points are we gonna increase? 2 to 3 points. Woohoo! Everyone's listening and on fire. I am loving it. Congratulations. So today we are going to be talking about transformational leadership habit number 2. Who knows what that is? We take responsibility. We play above the line. Do you all know the power that we have to shape our future? To really take control of your own life and our business and create a life of greater momentum and financial freedom? With that power and responsibility, it is also important to know that we lead our personal and business transformations. We're the leaders. They don't lead us. As leaders and new emerging leaders, which I know we have so many, hundreds on this call, it's so exciting, we can see or begin to see that there is a very fine line between ordinary. So here's our line, okay? Here's our fine line. Ordinary thinking or below the line thinking versus extraordinary thinking or above the line thinking. This will become more apparent as we continue to work and become the best versions of ourselves as transformational leaders. You're going to notice with above the line thinking, there is ownership, there's action, there's abundance. We take responsibility. There's hope, there's results, and unconditional love. Positive thoughts and actions that move you forward. Below that line, what is there? There's excuses, there's blame, there's fear, scarcity, procrastination, judgment, and helplessness. These are the areas that keep us small. Excuse me for 1 minute. As we awaken and we transform, we will become more successful, and challenges occur. Challenges are unavoidable. To me, a challenge means growth, because how are we going to get around that? No one's perfect all the time. And so as leaders, we learn to become aware and recognize when we're triggered and go below the line thinking. And then, and we'll get better and better at this, we mindfully rise back above the line to work on being our best self. We get to choose how to respond and put our energy into a way that moves us forward, rather than reacting to what went wrong and blaming and it's someone else's fault, it's not mine. And you are going to find yourself getting better and better at this. And it is such an amazing skill to really work on, because it really is life-changing in all areas of our life. I want to share a short story with you before I get out of the way here. And I want to share this story because it so touches my heart. This is living in love and abundance, in my opinion, in its purest form. So I want you to listen to it like that. A wise woman who was traveling in the mountains found a precious stone when she was walking through a stream. The next day, she met another traveler who was hungry, and the wise woman opened her bag to share her food. The hungry traveler saw the precious stone and asked the woman to give it to him. She did so without hesitation. The traveler left, rejoicing in his good fortune. He knew the stone was worth enough to give him security for a lifetime. But a few days later, he came back to return the stone to the wise woman. "I've been thinking," he said. "I know how valuable the stone is, but I would like to give it back. I'd like to give it back in the hope that you can give me something even more precious. Give me what you have within you that enabled you to give me the stone." Did you hear that? Give me what you have within you that enabled you to give me the stone. When you awaken and transform, you will see clearly that this is what we are teaching you, each one of you, to be this wise woman. A few years ago, I sent this story to Jamil. I told him that when I read this story, it made me think of him. After working on himself and becoming a transformational leader, that he was now the wise woman in this story, giving unconditionally and teaching others how to awaken and transform. Every single one of you that can hear my voice today can be this wise woman. It is a decision to take responsibility, to play above the line, and truly become the best version of you, a transformational leader. So I'm excited to listen to our next speaker. Priscilla Nelson has been such a gift. She has had such an inspiring journey. I have loved watching her. She brings me so much joy, just her smile and her energy that she gives off. And I always learn so much from her. I really look forward to hearing how this habit of leadership has shaped and inspired your life, Priscilla. Take it away.
Good morning. What a beautiful story and what a sweet introduction. Thank you so much, Karen. When I found out I was able to share about this habit of transformational leadership, I was truly so excited because it is my favorite. And, we take responsibility and we play above the line. I really believe that learning these concepts and getting better at these things, I'm not perfect, but getting better at these things every day, working on these things, it has been the greatest gift that being an Optavia coach has given me. That is absolutely true. So the first part, we take responsibility. I look at this totally differently now, and it's because of coaching. So, it's one thing to take responsibility for our own actions, and, I truly understood how that worked, and, I could take ownership of my own actions. But I had such a hard time with wrapping my brain around being able to take responsibility for certain things that have happened in my life that I felt were totally unfair. I could not grasp that. How do I take responsibility for something like that? But then I had a major shift in my life. And I'm not exactly sure when that happened, but it's been since coaching. And that major shift is that I view this as the gift of responsibility. We all have this gift. We all have the ability to respond differently to situations, especially to those situations we have no control over, or those situations that we feel are unfair in our life. We have the gift of being able to respond differently. And that, learning how to receive that gift, has truly been life-changing for me. It gives me so much more freedom. It gives me so much more happiness in my life. And so the fact that this is a transformational leadership habit within Optavia is an amazing thing that we all get to experience. And it's part of our self-development within being a coach. So these things help me a lot in my business. I'm just going to give you one example of lately, right? So, with regard to the fuelings being, out of stock, certain fuelings, we have no control over that, right? But we do have control over our response to that. And it really permeates throughout our whole organizations, right? So how we respond to that really speaks to how our clients are going to receive that. So I chose to just use this as an educational opportunity, with my clients, and helping them understand, a couple of things. Number one, food we're to view food more as fuel for our bodies, and that this can be an absolute positive thing. You never know. There might be other fuelings they would have never tried had they not, had this not have happened, right? And even for me, I have to shift that with how I'm going to view that and how I'm going to respond, because I really like the hot chocolate. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to make that shift, and I'm going to think, who knows, there might be something better that I might find to add in my coffee. So it's how you respond to the situation really helps on a daily basis. It helps you get through the day on a much better note. The second part of this habit is we play above the line. And Karen did a great job of explaining what that is. It's kind of an imaginary line, above the line and below the line. And how are we going to think on a daily basis, right? So above the line, ownership, accountability, taking responsibility. Or are we going to be below the line with blame and being a victim and all of those negative mindsets? So being mindful of where you are and being able to notice that and shift out. It takes a lot of work, by the way, but it's worth it. Shift out of that negative place, being below the line, and pulling yourself up to be above the line. Life-giving, life-changing on a daily basis. And you know what? It's because of coaching. We have this as a transformational leadership habit. And what a gift that is to us, right? So that shows up in my business in a lot of different ways. And I'll give an example, with coaches, newer coaches on our team that might not understand this concept fully, right? Because it's new. It was new to me when I was a new coach. When they face challenges or obstacles in their business, I love to be able to use that to speak with them about this very habit. And you know what? Not only does this help us in our business, but it helps us in our daily lives. And it truly is a gift to be able to help other coaches on our team, help our friends, help our family address these things and learn. We are never going to be perfect with this. It is human nature to always dip below the line. But working at it every day, a little at a time, right? It's just like baby steps for everything about this program. It will absolutely improve the quality of your life. I promise you that. So as an example transactionally of how this habit affects my business is, you know what? I know that where I am in my business today is a direct reflection of the work that I put in a month, 2 months ago, or the lack of work that I put in a month or 2 months ago, right? So taking that responsibility and that ownership, putting it on me, I have control of that, right? I have control over my business. And this has been such a wonderful, wonderful learning experience for me. Taking responsibility for my own business. And it's freeing. And believe me, being a coach has really taught me how much work I need to do on a daily basis, but it's wonderful to be self-aware. It is unbelievable how many times I notice that I dip below the line. But you know what? I'm more self-aware of that. And I'm able to learn how better to pull myself out, using that mental strength to pull myself out and be more above the line. It's a true gift, guys. And it is a wonderful gift to be able to give to other people. So again, taking responsibility. Remember, we have the gift of responsibility and also playing above the line. It will change your life on a daily basis. That's what it's done for me. So thank you so much for this time. Thank you for allowing me to share this morning. Back to you, Karen.
Wow, Priscilla. I mean, was that so good? So many good tips. I loved responsibility. Put a couple takeaways in the chat that you got from Priscilla this morning. She just has such an amazing way of sharing and really assisting to understand. And I also really loved what she said, and this is taking responsibility, right? Where I am is a direct reflection of the work or lack of work that I have put in. And that's so important to know, because everything we're doing now, you are going to see results of that within the next 3 months. So you are setting yourself up for success now. So thank you so much, Priscilla. That was so good. So I have the privilege, and I don't think I introduced myself. My name's Karen Elstrom, and I've been coaching about 11 years. And it has been, actually it'll be 11 years in November. It has been an amazing journey that I would not trade for anything. It has totally changed my life and the lives of all of the people I care about around me. And I've met so many amazing people, all of you. It's like, you are my people. I love you all. And I'm so blessed to be in relationships with you and learn from you. And I love how we learn from each other. We all bring such amazing gifts to the party, right? And we share and we give completely. I love how our team just pours into each other. You know, you've heard this before. You will continue to hear it. We have the best trainers in the company, and you've seen it. If you were on 11 days, you're going to see it. You saw it yesterday. You're going to see it this week, and just take advantage of every single second, because we are all here for you. And so today I get to talk about personal volume. I get to talk about our amazing business model and understanding PQV, or personal qualifying volume. This is the volume created on orders that you place from your own personal use. So everything we're talking about today is about taking responsibility, playing above the line. So as you think about creating your personal volume, have that in mind, because we'll be touching on that. You know, we truly have the most amazing business model, and we want to make sure that we understand it so we can duplicate it in the way it was intended to serve everyone. And remember, whatever we do, our team is going to do. It's follow the leader, right? So this is how we can all win and achieve our transactional goals. And I just want to say that I love listening to experts in our industry rave about how amazing our business model is. I mean, experts that aren't even in our company tell us how amazing our business model is. So if you don't know that, you are so blessed, because we have got the best in the industry. It's pretty cool. So, has everyone placed your personal order this month? There are 2 aspects about our program that make our business model so amazing. We are always a client of our health coach. And isn't that so cool? We will always have a health coach for our own personal journey. And I love the idea when we bring in business partners, they come in. Why? Because they want to help people. They want to help people with a healthier body, healthier mind, healthier finances. They do not come into our business model to get their program for less money. I love that everyone pays the same. It creates a whole different culture. And I think that was brilliant on Dan Bell's part to create this culture for us. So because we are always clients of our own health coach, every Optavia fueling that goes into our own mouth needs to be ordered on our own personal Premier order. If your spouse is on your coaching agreement, all of their fuelings should also be on that order as well. And leading by example, we are our own best customer. We place an order every single month. If we are on 5-in-1 or in weight loss, we're going to be placing a full order under our name, under our coach. If we are in optimization, you want to order at least $150 Premier order per month. This not only helps you to maintain your own health, but it also helps your coach reach their goals. They are investing their time into your business. And please place your personal Premier order early in the month. That's why I asked if everyone had their order placed already. You want to do it in the first week. And this helps in two ways, the first week of the month. And it helps in two ways. The first is that it helps your sponsoring coach in the growth of their business as they set up their monthly plan, right? We're all setting up our plan. We want to know what to plan on. Well, we for sure want to be able to count on the coaches on our team, that they're going to be placing their personal order at the beginning of the month. So we have a better idea of how our month is going to go. And secondly, this really assists the company due to high volume at the end of the month. You know how everyone's putting in an order on the last day or two of the month. It takes longer for clients to receive their orders, and it really gives them some relief. Corporate gives them some relief, and usually your clients, I think, receive their orders faster. And I also encourage my clients to move their orders closer to the beginning of the month. And usually what I do is each month, I move their order up a week. And I let them know why. I tell them that, you know, the closer we get to the beginning of the month, you're going to receive your program quicker. So they're good with that. No one minds, but we have to ask. And you'll find as you build your team, guess what they're going to do? They are going to duplicate what you do. We do not order fuelings from ourselves or someone who is not our coach. And this includes a pseudo order you might want to place under your dog, an order to assist you to reach a rank. Not only does that go against our policy and procedures, I think even more important, we all know that our integrity is the greatest asset in our marketing business. Optavia models this to the world. This is an example of living above the line, and we want to be an example of that. And when I first started coaching, I thought I came up. If anyone else felt this way, just blink. You don't have to admit it. I've never told anybody this, I'm just gonna say. I thought I came up with this most brilliant idea. Remember, this was like 11 years ago. A brilliant idea of a way to earn more income. I stopped placing my personal order through my coach, Kim, and I sponsored my husband and I placed my order through him because then, all about me, right? I could earn more money and it could help me get to my next rank. I mean, oh my gosh, I can't believe, has no one else thought of this? This was just brilliant. I really had no idea that this was not okay and that it totally went against the culture, values, and ethics of the company. When my coach saw what was happening, she talked to me about it, and I definitely changed what I was doing and started placing my own personal orders with her. I may or may not have dipped below the line a little bit during that process because I didn't get it. I didn't really understand what was possible. I had more scarcity mindset about this business. I was thinking very small. I could not see the big picture of not only how my actions, good or bad, would be duplicated by my team, but how taking responsibility and living above the line would also be duplicated by our team. And how living and operating above the line and living in our culture would not only support the transactional goals of my own coach and Optavia, but to my future business, because our system and our habits will be transferred to our teams, and that will be duplicated. We want to create a culture of integrity and living above the line. If you see this happening on your team, some of us, I had some cleanup to do, because guess what? I noticed a couple other coaches were doing the same thing. So don't assume that people know the right way to do it. This is a learning process. This is new for many of us. So if you need to have a conversation, once people understand, they get it. So don't just assume, well, that's okay, I'll just let that happen. It's a detriment to their business. You are not setting them up for long-term success. So I really hope this assists you to understand our model more clearly, and how living in abundance, living above the line, will create way more than you ever thought possible, So I am so excited to introduce our next speaker. Rachel Richards. I am telling you, there is no one that I can think of better to talk about all things client support. This lady is so amazing. So you are going to want to get out your notepad, because you're going to be learning how to have impeccable client support, plus a ton of other things that she always shares that are so incredible and just move us forward. So Rachel, take it away.
Thank you so much, Karen. That was amazing. I love the story that you told in the beginning. And that's really it. As we talk about client support, we want clients to feel so loved and cared for, empowered and equipped, educated, that they have to pay it forward. They have to. They're compelled. They can't keep a secret to themselves, right? They need to go out and share it with their family and their friends and their coworkers. That's called value, So today I want to really break down the value of the transactional side of client support, which is very real and very necessary. It never takes away from the transformative side, right? So it edifies, it fortifies the ability to transform someone's life. We've got to commit to mastery of the transactional side of our business. That is very necessary. So I love the healthy tension that we're balancing in this series. And that really helps us to see that it's both, right? And so you might be sitting there today saying, am I more transactional in my client support? And the only time that would be something to work on is if you're transactional in the areas that we need to be transformative, right? And if reciprocally, or conversely would be the word, if you were transformative in the areas that needed to be transactional. What we've got skill sets that need to be developed, and that's okay. That's why you're here. You're invested in, you're cared for, and you're loved on by your mentor team, so that you can develop both without any shame or flogging of yourself. That's why you're not coaching alone. If you're brand new and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much to balance, just settle in. I think settling in and realizing that it takes time and that you're not alone is probably the most freeing thing, and we can have fun making mistakes and learning. So today I want to talk to you about a couple of client stories. I want to start off with one or two. I was doing some check-ins this week, and one of my clients said to me, after about a 55-pound weight loss, she said, Rachel, I would like to share my non-scale victory with you. Each week, I ask my clients to tell me a couple of things. One, what did they get out of the Wednesday night call or the playback? I want to know what spoke to them. I also want to know what they're getting out of that particular element of their life book. And those two areas are client support for me. Okay. I don't want to chat with them about the new lettuce wraps that came out or the new cheese shell tacos, or I really want to move it away from food as often as I can. And so on this conversation that I was having on this check-in with this client, she said, you know what, I'm starting to contribute in my meetings at work. And I said, tell me more about that. And she said, well, I never would say anything in meetings because I've been very overweight my whole life. And so I had all these burning ideas that I wanted to contribute in meetings, but I didn't want to call attention to myself because I knew if they turned around and looked at me, that they probably would start judging me and thinking how heavy I am and how unattractive I am. And so I have had these burning ideas to contribute to our company that I haven't, because I never felt the confidence to speak up and share my mind and share ideas. That was powerful, you guys. That kind of a check-in for me was like, this is transformation. This lady is changing everything about her. And I have the privilege, and I'm humbled to my knees that I get to be a part of that with her. So I'm going to ask you a lot of questions in this time that we have together over the next 18 minutes. And I really do think you're going to want to take some notes, because I'm going to jump around between transformational ideas for you and also some really good nuggets on that transactional side. My first question to you is it below the line to let a client drive their own health journey? Is it below the line to let the client lead the experience, right? And I used to think like, well, the book here says, right? The book here, my job description, says that they are the authority over their life and that we must honor that, right? So that's part of what we must honor, that the client is the authority over their life. What does that mean? Does that mean that I let them drive? Does that mean that they know what's best for them in the health journey process and change, and that they're always going to be honest, about their limitations? No, it doesn't mean that. But it does mean this, and this is what I love to share with each client. You can set the pace, okay? You can always set the pace, but I'm going to set the plan. And what that means is, you called me because you needed to be led through some change, right? I'm only certified on my program. So I'm not certified on whatever version of my program you may want to resolve to when it gets uncomfortable, okay? I'm not certified on that plan. That plan would probably leave them in their poopy diaper, right? So that's not the same thing as honoring the client as the expert of their life. What that says is the client may have to have some things in their program that we need to consider. Maybe how fast they want to go, or if they want to give up workouts, or they don't see the value of giving up the workout just yet, and they want to be on a 4 and 2, or there's certain things that we need to consider, right? But at the end of the day, if we remember this one thing, they're going to do what's comfortable, and what's comfortable is going to kill. Comfort kills things, okay? It doesn't enhance things. So we don't want to kill their dreams by making them so comfortable, right, that they don't have a chance to transform. So I want you to think about, at the end of the day, integration is the answer to every client issue that you're going to have. Let me say that again. Integration is going to resolve every client issue that you will ever have in client support. Okay, so I want to kind of talk about some of the pieces of client support that really we can kind of touch on, both transactional, transformative. But the main picture that I want to give you is your client is in this boat. And we've talked about this on trainings before, but if you're new, I definitely wanted to share it. Your client is in a boat, and they're on the sea of change, okay? And they're going to hit some waves. Some of the waves could capsize them. They're big waves that are going to come at them. Maybe it's an unsupportive spouse. Maybe they have a really unhealthy inner circle. Their top 5 friends are unhealthier than they are, right? They're going to have a very special occasion that they don't know if they can stay the course. So it's not a matter of, are they going to hit rough seas? It's when. And so I love to tell the client that there are going to be 4 anchors that we are going to drop to ensure that when something hard hits you, that you're not capsized. And what I mean by that is integration. So I explained to them, one of the anchors that I'm going to help you drop is coaching. I'm here for you. I'm not going to own your health journey because I don't want you to pass the test and fail the final. Okay, that would be terrible. And if I got hit by a bus, God forbid, you still got to get healthy, because I'm looking at what you wrote down on your health assessment and it matters. And I'm contending for your transformation. And so here's those anchors. Coaching. You're going to get one-on-one coaching. That's me. I'm not going anywhere, right? And I'm going to give you love and accountability all the way through. And I'm not going to give you the answers, but I'm going to empower you to find them. And you're going to be as knowledgeable as me, if not more than me. This whole program was designed for you to outgrow me. How cool is that? Because you're going to turn around and help other people. So that's the way that we do that, right? We're going to empower you. Secondly, there's going to be team coaching. So I set them up for, you're going to talk to my coach at the end of your first week and at the end of your first month. You're going to love it. You think I have some information? Imagine the person that got me to this point, right? So we're just going to keep providing you team IQ so that you can win. So you're going to get team coaching and one-on-one coaching. That's 25% of our program. Another area that you're going to get to participate in team coaching is in our client support page. You're going to be so excited to see so many coaches and clients in there that are going to contribute to your questions, your concerns, and your empowerment. The other place you're going to see team coaching is on your Wednesday night client education call. Every Wednesday, you're going to have the opportunity to sit down and benefit from subject matter experts. These are people, some of them are kinesiologists, some of them are dietitians, nutritionists. We're not going to give you all the things your first week. You would fry out and quit. We're going to unpack these skills for you every single week. So I let them know I will be on that call with you at 5:30 every Wednesday night. I haven't missed one. And if I do, I play the podcast, right? This is why I've kept my weight off for 4 years. I share that with them. Success leaves clues. So make sure that when you're talking about client support, that you let them know the team and the investment that is behind their health journey, and don't skip that. Make sure they understand the team coaching as much as they understand working with you. And that way, those client integration calls, week 1 and month 1, those are never weird because they were expecting it from the get-go. The second part of the anchor is the client support pages, right? The community. I let them know the Optavia community is going to bless your socks off. You're not ever going to want to leave this community. I never want to leave this community. I have walked through doors that I can't believe I've been able to walk through, and I'm going to have you to be able to do that as well. So this community is going to be 25% of your program. And I explained to them, whatever you bring into community gets better. If it's your fitness, you could work out at home, but why don't we? Because it gets better in community. We could run races on our own. Why don't we? Because it gets better in community. So I let them know things in their life that they already do in community, and imagine doing it by themselves, right? It wouldn't be as powerful. That's 25% of the program. The next 25% of the program is the nutrition. And I let them know, I'm going to coach you through 3 very different, very distinct phases of this program. Induction, the very healing, detoxifying, cleansing, recalibrating phase of our program. You're going to learn so much about yourself in the inductive phase. It will be difficult. It will be beautiful, but I'm going to be here for you. Then we're going to go to the transition side of that. We're going to start transitioning you to more responsibility. I tell them, you know, all those points of failure that you had before program, busyness, lack of self-care, all of those things that we talked about on your health assessment, we're going to tackle those one at a time and start transitioning you and empowering you to add in more foods of your own. Fruits coming back, grains are coming back. The way you're eating in the inductive phase, that's not how you're going to eat in transition. So this is vision casting. This is a transformative skill, right? And then I let them know from there, we're going to open up the door to optimization. And I talk about my optimization, that I, at 47 on my birthday, have been able to really drop body fat and really work on my healthy mind and do things that I never dreamed I could do at this age and with this much enthusiasm and vitality. And I let them know vitality at any age is what's waiting for you in the optimization phase. So at the end of the day, guys, we have to cast vision, because if we don't, they're going to think, well, how long can I do this? And am I going to eat like this forever? And that's unnecessary chatter that they're going to have in their brain. So make sure you tell them about the 3 beautiful phases of program and the things that are going to happen in that area. And then lastly, that's 25% is the nutrition. And I don't forget to let them know that includes their supplements and all of the vitamins and minerals. And I let them know the full value of what we're offering them in that area. And I tell them, you know, can you believe that all of this program, this comprehensive program, happens for like under $14 a day? It's really incredible. I want to make sure they feel the value so that the second month, we're not having a conversation when their premier order goes up, right? They already knew to budget that based off that value. The last anchor that I talk about for them, you know, we've got coaching, we've got community, we've got nutrition, is I let them know your behavioral program is where we're going to dig deep. Your behavioral program is going to be educational and equipping. And I let them know, I go back to the health assessment. You said you've been struggling for 13 years with your food issues, with your stress and all of that. We are going to unpack this book. It's got, you know, 26 elements. Each element takes 2 weeks for us to go through approximately, reading about 5 minutes a day. And you are going to have the chance over the next year. I love the way they said it last night. It's an autobiography. We are going to rewrite your story together. I have the privilege of helping you, prompting you, and listening as you rewrite your story. Every week, you're going to add something new to your story. And so I let them know, like, settle in, right? This isn't like 30 days, 60 days. This is a year of reacquainting yourself with food and community and behavioral and mindset. And your food got us in trouble. So I don't want to talk about food. Let's talk about that the first week, and then let's be done with it, because food got us in this situation. Food conversations are not going to get us out. And so I'm telling you this because I want to know, on the transformational side, are you guys awakening your clients to something way bigger than let's go on this health journey and lose some weight? Okay. The other thing I let them know is I want them to have a consistent experience. And I would ask you guys, is providing a consistent experience part of being a professional, right? It is. But that starts with these following things. Everybody gets a health assessment. It doesn't matter if it's your sister, brother, spouse, everybody gets a health assessment. When I look at this health assessment that was filled out, and I just look at it, guys, I mark all over it that in the awakening piece, that's element 1 of our life book. I need them to understand that this little bit of awakening that we did is going to be furthered as they write out their why in element 1. I need them to understand that that motivation for change is going to be something we work on in element 3, that you getting to go on more cruise ships, travel, and do gardening, we're going to have to look at what you want to create in element 3. Then I also let them know sleep and energy. That's element 19. I can't wait for you to read about how important sleep is to your overall health. That's going to be element 19 or section 2.13 of the Habits of Health book. Motion, 2.11. Mind, it keeps going, right? Element 5, element 4, weight management, section 2.1, surroundings, element 5. Guys, we have to know our materials so that we know how to take this beautiful sheet of information and tie it to coaching that only happens out of these systems. So if you're coaching from the Life book, the Habits of Health book, the Wednesday night call, the client support pages, the Stop Challenge Choose guide, I would tell you it is so below the line on our part to coach them to something that they can't sustain. That would be cheating. That would be giving them the answer, and they're going to fail their final because they have to live with that body and that mind for the rest of their life. And we don't want to give them the answer. The answers have to come from the resources that we teach. If they're coming outside of that, then we've done hero coaching. And hero coaching will cause one major disruption in our program. They won't be able to duplicate it. And if they won't be able to duplicate it because it looked too hard and you looked too smart, then they will never take the mission and go out and give this away to their friends and family. So everybody gets a health assessment. What about those 5 to 6 days, you guys, where they're waiting for their transformation kit? And that's what I call them. Your transformation kit is coming in 5 to 6 days. Let's start rolling up our sleeves now and get you plugged into the community. There's a Wednesday night call tonight. You ordered your kit at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. Go ahead and be my guest on your first call, right? Let me introduce you to the community. You're going to love it. I'm going to welcome you in our client support page today. You're going to make some new friends today. You're going to have some accountability today. We're not waiting for that box to show up. In the meantime, I also want to give them some Pinterest. We're going to go to Pinterest and have them look out some recipes and start pre-cleansing their body. We're going to start drinking the water now. I'm going to start adding value to them as soon as I possibly can. I need that trust deposit to go up, 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 or else we're not going to be talking about anything real on those client check-ins if I don't start pre-integrating and building that relationship. So what do you guys do with the 5 to 6 days while they're waiting for their transformation kit? Are you building relationships? Are you building trust deposits? Are you introducing them to someone in their client support page that has a similar story? Are you giving them some things to look at on Pinterest? We want to start their reticular activating system as soon as possible, okay? We don't want to wait for that. What about that night before call? Are you doing one for every single client? Is it in Zoom? Are you looking at them? Are you telling them, I'm so proud of you for choosing health and I'm here? And let's go ahead and get you the best possible start, making sure that call is only 10 to 15 minutes and that they've watched the video at least once before the call and that they've read their guidebook, pages 18 through 20, at least a couple times before they get on that call, so that that call already had them come in with their part of the story, their part of the homework, and that they're used to being pointed to things early and often? Or are you spending an hour on that call, giving them all the answers and going through every single one of their questions that the video would have answered? So as soon as you can start empowering them, the better. The last thing I want to say, I had so many notes, oh my gosh. Setting expectations. This is transactional. Let me give you 2 transactional things. That was a lot of transformative. I let them know you got 5 free boxes on your first order. You want to know why? Because you're not going to like everything in your box. You're not. And so I want you to move it to the back and remember that that can happen 5 times because the company knew that your palate would need to be adjusted. They gave you 5 free boxes. So you know what, guys, I don't have people bugging me for like, I don't like this, I don't like that. I go, okay, well, that's why they gave you the 5 free. So we'll go ahead and move those to the back and then we'll try them again in 2 to 3 weeks. Your palate's going to change and I'm going to start teaching you and empowering you and awakening you to use food as fuel. So I'm less concerned with how they taste and more concerned about why that's so important to you, right? So we're going to move through some of these tough things. That's loving truth that they need. So make sure that even with this stuff that's going on with our orders and all of that, I let them know. And just so you know, I have, folks on my team that are like, oh, this person's going to be so angry, or that person's going to be so mad. And we get on the phone and they're never angry and they're never mad. But that's because of the posturing that we kind of take in terms of, where did you get the expectation? I think a lot of coaching is setting their expectations and kind of asking them, where did you get that idea? Where did you get the idea you were going to lose 10 pounds a week? Where did you get the idea that Optavia was never going to make mistakes on orders? Where did you get the idea that we weren't going to be affected by having dry ingredient shortages in, a global pandemic? Like, where did you get the idea, right? We're not going to be perfect. It's how we handle it. And we are Optavia. So, I think at the end of the day, it's about us playing above the line, and it is below the line for us to give them the answers and not treat each client with a consistent experience whereby they get to set the pace and we set the plan. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That was total mic drop. I'm just going to say, Rachel, so much value. So I just want to see in the chat, how many of you are thinking like me? I'm going to be watching this numerous times, over and over and over. The chat was blowing up totally the whole time you were talking, with all kinds of takeaways. If you want to add more takeaways, please do that. But I was writing as fast as I possibly could. And I want to share a couple things that really stuck out to me. Integration is going to resolve every client issue. Oh my gosh, that is so good. And we're empowering our clients. And vision casting, a transformational skill. So good. I loved what you said near the end. So where did you get that idea? And then add to that. That was so perfect. Such great skills. This was so amazing. Thank you so much for all of your wisdom and so many amazing things that you shared with us today. I know that people are saying they couldn't write fast enough to get everything. I saw someone going, I need your notes. I need to know more. Thank you. We love you. It was fantastic. And so if you have any paper left, you're going to need just as much paper for our next amazing presenter. Kelly Floyd is going to be talking about structure. This girl is the queen of structure. She is so good. Kelly, teach us structure and how to be structured. You're up, girl.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen. And guys, y'all, Rachel just took us to school. She did. Amazing. She always takes us to school. I don't know if you feel that way, but I'd never come away from her teaching without learning something new, without reinforcing something I'm already doing, without thinking, oh, that's a better way to posture that. So much good stuff. But it might be leaving some of you guys who don't think about this feeling a little overwhelmed. Guys, Rachel did not start her coaching journey like she is now. This has been her taking one more bite of transformational and transactional leadership and housing it in structure and growing and learning and changing. She did not start where she is now, okay? None of us did. Most of us basically got to a place of pain so that we then changed. Or we got on these trainings and we thought, oh, that's a better way of doing that. Or we listened to our mentors and leaned into that situation and we thought, oh, that's a better way of doing that. So if you are a baby coach out there and you're a brand spanking new and you're like, holy crap, I can't coach. This is too much. Like, whoa, they just blew my mind. Know that this is a process. Just like you didn't do your client journey in a day, your coaching journey isn't going to happen in a day either. It is going to be a process. And part of that process, guys, is going to be learning more transactional pieces, more transformational pieces, and housing them in structure. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kelly Floyd. I have been coaching for about 3.5 years. And much like many of you who are brand spanking new, I didn't know crap when I became a coach, and I was a really crappy coach, and I didn't have structure in my business. And if you'd asked me, I didn't even know what transformational and transactional leadership was, but if you'd asked me, I would have probably put myself right there in that transformational camp. And if you looked at my business, you would have said, well, if you want to be a transformational coach, you're going to need to get some transactional in here, and you're going to need to get some structure in here, or you're not going to have the transformations that you want to have. And so let me give you, well, and honestly, like, that's why it's always so interesting to me when they ask me to train. When they said, okay, we want you to train on structure today, and we want you to really relate the transformational and the transactional side and how those go together and how you have to put them in structure, I thought, you're asking me to do this because I was a hot mess. This has been a huge process. And of course, in the learning, we always find other places of growth. So much like many of you who are just a client and you are just learning all of that information, and now you're a coach and you're getting to teach that information. When you're a coach and you begin to train, you get to learn that information on a different level too. And so I'm going to teach you a little bit about how I became more structured and how you too can become more structured, even if your business is a hot mess. I'm going to teach you how, if you identify more as a transformational coach, you can and you will become more of a transactional coach, and you have to in order to be the best transformational coach you can become. I'm going to point some things out along the way that if you don't pay attention to the transactional, then you aren't truly being a very transformational coach. So let me start by telling you a little bit about where I came from and where I started. So when I became a coach, I did it for accountability. I did it in the nooks and crannies of my day, and coaching's beautiful that way, right? Like, we can coach in the nooks and crannies of our day. We can be very, very busy people and still run a coaching business, right? True. But that isn't how I ran my coaching business. I ran mine with no structure whatsoever. It looked a little bit like this. I do health assessments. I actually did put them on the health assessment form. Yay me. But after I had done them, like, I didn't file them away in my client binder. There was no structure to that. I didn't put my not yets in a certain place. I didn't put my yeses in the week 1 folder. I didn't then move them to the after week 1 folder. And once they went into optimization, I certainly didn't move them anywhere else. Like, it was like this stack of things, right? And then let's talk about integrating them in the beginning. I did the night before call because I was taught how to do that. And I think back then we were taught how to do 1 through 4. It's been a long time. The structure and the training has changed. But I will tell you what I didn't do. I didn't call my clients every week, and I didn't call them at a set amount of time. I didn't say, hey, I'm going to be checking in with you between these hours on Tuesday afternoons. I didn't have a set day. I just called them whenever I felt like it. And when I talked to them, I talked with them about whatever I felt like. I didn't have any structure. And let me back up and tell you that I was a mom of 3 little children, all under the age of 4. I was a full-time speech language pathologist, and I was a supervisor at my company. So I had a lot of therapists that I supervised all over our state, which meant that I traveled a lot. So if anyone needed some structure, it was me, and yet I had none. And had I not come to the realization that I needed structure, I would have quit. And so if you have some busy people on your team and they're feeling really crazy, then probably you need to talk with them about structure, because they probably don't have any, and they're probably making this all a lot harder than it has to be. We have beautiful systems. We have beautiful structure. We train a lot of it. And so a lot of it happens naturally now. But if you have people struggling in that way, you need to check in with them and help them create structure, because just like your clients didn't know what they didn't know, your coach isn't going to know what they don't know. So there's that. So I needed structure. I was so bad, guys, about not being like transactional, that when Jamil and Emily asked me on my senior coach celebration if I was getting my deposits, I told them I didn't know. I didn't know. I hadn't checked my bank account. I didn't think about that. I wasn't paying attention. Optavia could have not paid me, or they could have paid me. I wouldn't have known. Transactional, just like structure, had no place in my business. And then I was awakened. And I was awakened because I began to get on trainings like this. I was awakened because I began to lean into my mentorship team. I was awakened because I reached a pain point of, I'm going to quit if something doesn't change because I ain't got time for all this, right? And so I started with structure. And when you start with structure, you kind of have to come clean to the people who you have not been structured with. And what that looked like was going to my clients and saying, guys, I have been a real crappy coach to you all. And in order to be a better coach, I'm learning how to put structure in. And I'm going to do my client support check-ins with you. And for me, I still needed to put them in the pockets of time that I had. But I could say, these 4 people I'm going to do it on this day. And these 4 people are going to be on this day. When you talk about structuring your client support, it doesn't have to be all in one day. It doesn't all have to be all in one afternoon. It doesn't have to be on 2 days. It needs to work how it needs to work. But at the base of it, you need to educate your clients about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And then you need to posture to them, just like Rachel taught us so beautifully to do, what that client support call is going to be. And so you get some structure, you get some good timing for that. And then you talk to them about it. You educate them about it. You teach them what you're going to check in on and what you're going to talk about on the call and about how long that call is going to last. For me, they last 5 to 10 minutes. That's what mine are. And my people know every single week I'm going to talk about the same thing. We're going to ask the same questions. The answers aren't going to be the same, but the questions are going to be the same. I'm consistent. They know what to expect. And so you need to get some structure with that. You need to get some structure, guys, with what Josh talked about yesterday. So transactionally, I had no structure, right? So if an order processed and it didn't have enough boxes in it, do you think I knew that? Probably not. If I did know it, once I did start checking that sort of thing, I didn't say anything to my clients because I thought, oh, that's a sticky subject. Well, guess what, guys? That's not being a very good freaking transformational coach. Your clients don't know what they don't know. And they might not know that they need 22 boxes to get through a full month. And that means that when halfway through the month, they've run out of boxes, you never said anything to them and you never educated them on it or let them know that they didn't have enough. They're going to be disappointed. They're going to be upset. They're probably going to have to not be on full program for a little bit while we wait on their next box to get here. And they're going to have to pay shipping because you didn't want to be transactional, because you didn't want to check and see what orders we're going to process, how much they were going to be, how many boxes did they have in there? Were they on the 5-in-1? Guys, it is a caring, transformational thing to reach out to that client and say, hey, Kim, I noticed that you changed your order and it's set to process this week. And it looks like you only have about 15 boxes. Do you have some extra boxes? Are you still in the 5-in-1? I just want to make sure that we, avoid any potential issues. That's called coaching. Like, that's what they need us to do. They don't know what they don't know. So if you aren't checking what's about to process for the week before and what's about to process or what did process the week prior, and you're not communicating with your clients about that, you're not doing a very good job of being transformational, and you're ignoring completely the transactional. Okay. So we need to marry those two and get some structure. I love Josh's suggestion yesterday that we do that on Sundays. That's a great day to plan your week and to review the week before and get prepared to really help and assist your clients get to their goals. In order to do that, we have to marry the two. Then if you think about it, and here's another pain point for me, I got good at looking at my own business. Dan Bell taught me the compensation plan back in November last year when I went to the summit. It was amazing. It opened my mind, but somehow I had these blinders on. And so I just was focusing on my business and I wasn't looking at my coach's business. Well, guess what, guys? That isn't serving my coaches because they don't know what they don't know either unless I teach them. Your coaches don't know if they're one order away from senior coach. They don't know if they're a couple dollars away from a rank up. They don't know how to look at their clients' orders and see if they're full ordering, or to see if they're going to have to pay more for shipping than they should, or they don't know how to do that. So if you don't know how to do that and you aren't doing that, then you're not going to duplicate that down and you're going to hold your coaches back. So because you don't want to be transactional, you just want to be transformational, or maybe you're opposite of that, then you're going to hold your team back. So I decided that in order for me to not hold other people back by my ignorance, that I had to learn and I had to get structured with that. And so Jamil taught us that we needed to check our numbers 3 times a month. And so and Emily taught me I needed to keep track of that and not on the back of my map. So I started doing it in a notebook. This is just like a composition notebook. And so I have my tracking points. And if you don't know what they are, talk to your coach. And I track them 3 times a month on the dates I'm supposed to. Well, guess what? I also track on those times because it's not a habit yet for me. I need to do it in structure. I also track my coach's business. I look at where they are. I look at where they said they wanted to be based on their map. And I help them structure and strategize to adjust to make that plan. That is not something I'm naturally good at. That is not something that I naturally do. It is something I've had to learn and had to get good at, or else I'm holding people back from being the best they can be and achieving the goals they want to achieve. Because I'm the one who has to teach them that, right? Every month, that's my win the day card at the top. But every month, I do my own map and I track on my map when people's orders go through. I do that because I need to teach my mentor, my partner coaches how to do that. Guys, if you don't get in structure and you aren't doing your map, this is a structural thing, this is a transactional thing, then you don't have a clue where your business is, where it's going, what's happening, what's not happening, like Josh talked about yesterday. And then what's going to happen is then you're cheating your coaches of that too. So guys, I have so many more notes. I could talk for days about this and everything that I've learned and how it's been bites and bites and bites and growing and growing and growing, but we're already over time. So I'm going to say one more thing. Rachel always talks about, we want our clients to have one more bite of integration. I'm going to talk about that we want our coaches to have one more bite of structure, one more bite of transaction, one more bite of transformation. And as your team grows, as you grow, as your client base grows, know that you just need to take one more bite. You don't need to do it all at once. I didn't do it all at once. Nobody did it all at once. We grew as we reached those pain points and realized that we had to. So Karen, that's all I got.
Wow, Kelly, did I tell you that it would just be amazing? Did you just learn so much about structure? And thank you, Kelly, for starting out and making sure we all knew we all started in the same place. As you said, I was a crappy coach. I didn't know. We just do the best we can. We all paid $199 for our kit and we just go and we kind of have to find our way. I loved what you said, whatever happened before, ... And then I was awakened because we all have the opportunity to change. It's just a decision. You don't like what's happening? Change. Just going to do a couple more because I thought they were so amazing. And then we're going to move to our action steps. Get good at looking at your own business. Kelly talked about how she was really good at looking at her own business, but then she realized she wasn't looking at the business of her partner coaches. Yeah, you want to know what their business is too. And you want to teach them the skills. And if we don't know the skills, once again, reach out to your mentor and figure out and learn how to do it. Everything is available to you at your fingertips. Check your numbers 3 times a month, but check your coach's numbers too. Don't hold them back. Don't let your unwillingness to make a decision and move forward and change and shift and become a transformational leader. Don't let that decision hold anyone on your team back. And ending with one more bite, whatever that is, one more bite. I love that so much. Can we just give hearts and love and thank you to this amazing, amazing team of incredible leaders? Put a 10 in the chat if you just have so many takeaways. Probably you all are going to want to listen to this one more time. Thank you, Priscilla and Rachel and Kelly. Thank you for pouring into us and sharing your wisdom. You guys, all this is just for free. It takes a while to prepare for this type of presentation and training to all of you. And everyone does it with love in their hearts, like the wise woman. Right? Like the wise woman. So let's go over your action steps and get you on your way. I'm not going to share my screen. I'm going to go through them, but I will post them in the group when we're finished today. So you know the first one, right? Suspend all fear and just go. As you hear things added today, you know, it can create a little bit of fear, like, oh my gosh, can I do that? Can I talk to people that way? Can I say that? Or am I going to let them run their business or let them run their program? No, suspend all fear and just go. Win the day cards. Have those win the day cards changed your life truly? We get so much more done. Do those every single day. The third thing, if your personal order is outside of the first week of the month, change it to this week. Do that today. Just get that handled. And number 4, talk to as many people as you need to today to set up a health assessment, right? We're growing our business 2 to 3 points. Now you have so many amazing skills that you learned today on working with people with a health assessment and what to do. It's going to be a totally different game. Of course, it's a learning process, but this is so cool. It's such a great way to start. And 5, structure off your calendar with blocks of time. Start getting in structure if you're not. I know for me, I was all over the place too. I could relate to what Kelly was saying. Structure your time, put rocks in your schedule. Start with the things that you know, the company leadership call, your team calls, Wednesday night calls, those things you know, rocks in your schedule. This training every morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Make sure that's already in your schedule. Then start adding blocks of time for client check-ins, for celebration calls, anything that you need, have it scheduled. And number 6, this is so key. Review all of your active clients. If they have not had a 1 week or a 1 month celebration, get those calls set up today. Get those set up today. They are waiting for you to celebrate them. Thank you again for being here for what an amazing morning. You have just, what a great way to start the day. It just is so incredible. We will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I need to get a new pad of paper. I'm sure many of you do too for tomorrow. And we love you guys. Thank you for all you do. And we'll see you tomorrow morning.